ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else. Welcome to your Summer Split Finals. Picks and bans for Game 1 is dropping in hot and fast. I'm Quickshot, joined by Dagda and Vedius for this best of 5 to determine our Summer Split champion. Straight out the gate, Rumble ban, not a surprise at all.
Exactly as you said, Quickshot, 100% ban from G2. They do not want to deal with the Rumble, especially Odoamne. And Dagda, you were talking to me earlier about how you expect the Ivan to be taken away from Yike. He has been one of the best performing on the champion, but Poppy also coming out from G2.
I'm actually surprised to see the Poppy ban, because in the last series, G2 actually dropped the Poppy ban after Game 2, and instead we're looking at things like the Renekton, and I actually thought they'd go for something like the Rell as well on this blue side. So we'll have to see what the rest of the plan is going to be. And even Excel coming in with a surprise as well, banning away the Nico very early. They were leaving that till second rotation in the last series.
I wonder if that means that they have something prepared. Of course, Rell is a power pick that we saw have massive impact in yesterday's series. Right now, it is up and available, and we know that Mikyx loves that pick. I don't expect G2 to be the team to ban it away, but with that, Maokai also available.
Jayce as well, and also the Xayah. But I think looking at these two teams, this is actually the team where I think you can let the Xayah through. Both sides have shown that they have answers to it. Hansama willing to play Kog'Maw Braum. They've also got the Kalista, but the Kalista also there for Patrik as well, if the Xayah is taken early.
This Alistar ban heavily suggests that they want the Rell. They want XL to ban that Rell away so that they can grab themselves that Maokai, or even the Jayce as you were talking about. XL heavily contemplating now what direction they want to go. LeBlanc going to be taken off the board. You imagine this has to be a Rell first pick for G2, and then XL can respond with the Maokai Jayce of their own.
I really think that the LeBlanc shouldn't be as high priority as it is. It hasn't been looking great across the course of playoffs. Also the fact that we've kind of seen both teams drop it through their entire last series. We saw XL drop it yesterday in their Game 4 as well against Fnatic. But here, I do agree with you. I think they're like, hey, look, you gotta now decide what you want to do, because we're getting 2 of these 3 big pocket picks. Rell taken from G2, and now XL. It feels like a Maokai Jayce is a no-brainer.
Oh yeah, it feels like it has to be. And the only other thing is, depending on how much they value Xayah, they could want to try and lock that one in as well. But as you rightly said, like, there is speculation around whether or not G2 even want to play the Xayah, right? Normally they bring out the Kog'Maw as an answer to it, so XL could even wait, you know, get themselves the Maokai, get themselves the Jayce, and then even round their draft out with a Xayah, and then even look to ban the Kog'Maw away.
Yeah, especially when neither of these mid laners have actually been willing to take the Xayah into the mid lane as well. It does kind of say, look, chances are this Xayah is going to be going to the bottom side. Obviously we saw a video piloting that to great success, but Abbedagge, he's been on this Jayce, and he has been absolutely fire on this pick.
I mean, when you take a look at that Maokai pick, 7 games this summer, 6 of them wins for Peach, used exceptionally well in combination with that long-range poke from Abbedagge's Jayce, which was a terror. The one interesting thing is this bottom lane is still very, very open, and the meta of this best of 5 pick and ban is going to develop significantly, because the bans very different to what we have been seeing throughout the rest of playoffs.
Also the fact that Hansama's Draven is open. Like, this has been something that has been so consistently banned against them, but it is going to be that Xayah taken instead. So now the question mark is Patrik going to take something like the Kalista on the opposite side?
I really wouldn't be surprised to see a Trundle here. It's something that we've seen from G2 before. This Xayah Rell can be a very effective 2v2 bot lane, and then Yike on the Trundle is something that we've seen Razork use as an answer into the Maokai, but we've also seen it come out from Yike as well.
I also am curious to see exactly what the plan is here, because although you could end up going for something like a Xayah, which I think would be the answer as well if Patrik wants to go towards that, or do you try and take something as an answer to this, do you try and take something for Odoamne in that top side, something like an Ornn or along those lines where you can try and play for these big team fights?
Looks like it will be the Xayah locked in for Patrik. Okay, so we're going to get a Xayah matchup, an AD carry matchup that many fans love to see. We'll see who can get the better between Patrik and Hansama as we move into the second rotation of bans.
It feels to me that we're going to be looking at a lot of these support bans coming out, especially when you already see the Rell can be flexed across here for G2, so they're perfectly happy to put that into Mikyx. With the Alistar already gone, maybe you take away something like the Braum as well and just make sure that Rell can have a fantastic time in that bot side. The only thing then is, as you say, like, does Yike want to go back towards something like the Trundle, or does he want to go for something like the Sejuani? With the Ahri here, though, there's always answers. Like, we see a lot in the LPL. Lee Sin could also go into the jungle there. You've got the opportunity to try and play for that, but it does leave your front line very vulnerable for something like that Maokai ultimate.
Not surprised to see that Rakan banned away, Limit's second most played champion throughout the course of summer. Nautilus still up and available. One of the potential options. And with that Jax banned away from BrokenBlade, still going to take a look at what's going to be running in the top lane here for Odo and BB.
Could be Renekton, something we've been seeing a lot from BrokenBlade, and something that Odoamne did struggle a bit against the last time that they did play up against it. No, but they actually had a similar read to us with the Trundle being taken away. I like this ban a lot. Of course, it does leave the Renekton open, so G2 can have that relatively safe blind. But now, what do you pick as an answer? Maybe the Sejuani becomes the next engage. Maybe you keep Rell in the jungle and you go for something else in support. It feels like the G2 are just trying to keep their options as open as possible.
Yeah, traditionally, we do see some sort of tank jungler go in there just because it's, well, if BrokenBlade is off pushing the side lane against Odoamne and Peach hits the engage button with the Maokai, we need something that can try and block it up. And that's why I thought we'd see maybe the Braum ban on XL side just to try and prevent something that could go through if they want to flex that Rell into the jungle. But it looks like instead, XL are actually just going to take themselves that Braum and set up for an obnoxious team fight here as well. And when you're looking at a lot of G2 Esports want to have that go forward button with the Xayah, the Ahri, Braum is going to have a field day in that scenario.
Ton of options available there for XL. A lot of AD long range poke there. Not a huge amount of AP profile damage for now, but G2, how do they round this composition up? Where are their other initiating tools to back up the likes of BrokenBlade? Game 1 of their series last week, they had that Trundle as well as Nico. With the Trundle banned away, we've ID'd to the Sejuani, has now been secured for Yike, and exactly as expected, the Renekton. So at least in the back half of this draft, no giant surprises. Odoamne, bit of a pick of the litter here, can take this in a number of directions. And when we see that, we've seen it a couple times this playoffs already.
I'd actually like to see the Kennen here. It is a bit of a skill matchup in the top lane, but I think in a lot of situations you can set yourself up where you have G2 diving in on top of you and it sets up for that easy ultimate. Maybe he's a little bit nervous about like a big Ahri charm coming in and kind of ruining Kennen's day, but same idea here for the Ornn. It won't be as kind of a matchup to Odoamne in that top side, but I mean, look at the team fight you have in XL right now.
I mean, that's the first time that we've seen Odo running the Ornn this summer. He has played it 32 times in his career. But I think from this XL draft, the long-range, non-committal engage is terrifying to deal with. And the amount of zone control that G2 Esports have to navigate and dance around is going to be incredibly frustrating.
G2 Esports have to be so quick at pulling the trigger, because even when you look at like Abbedagge getting to poke off with the accelerated shock blast, if you are just sitting around kind of fumbling your way through some of these objective setups, that's where XL are going to shine. And especially when you got something like a Maokai and Ornn that can so easily command space, as you say, Quickshot, this is where I get nervous, where if G2 don't get the ball rolling early, I think they're in dire straits.
Well, so far throughout playoffs, Peach has stood out as a jungler that's made his presence known in the early game, but Yike is no slouch. The last time that these two met, it was all about that early game action. Fantastic team fights and overall some great European League of Legends. I'm super excited. We're about to jump into game 1 of this best of 5. Last time we had the full 5 games. We're hoping for another matchup like that again.
Those first 2 games were bangers. They were bloodbaths. The tempo was off the charts. And we're going to find out who strikes first in our Summer Split Finals. It's G2 taking on XL. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Berlin going wild here, and a lot of chance, obviously, in support of G2. In terms of how this draft has played out, a little bit different to at least what I was anticipating. But I think when I consider, hello everybody, how these games have played, I think Peach and Yike, obviously the danger plays in the early game, especially when you consider how much influence they have had throughout the course of these best ofs. And XL starting to start off defensively here. I mean, do you anticipate any of these lanes leaning in favor of either G2 or XL? Vedi, where would you watch for the first 5 minutes?
Well, jungle is where my eyes are being immediately drawn to right now, as both of them battle for a bit of early vision. I'm thinking about early priority, and I always have to think about this bot lane. Hansam and Mikyx are known for fighting for that priority in the early 2 versus 2. We've seen Yike even look to cover for them with level 2 ganks to assist, and right now it is a war over this first buff as XL try to contest.
I mean, they've got a Braum at level 1. It's so difficult to deal with, and Ultimately, Mikyx's going to lose his flash defensively. What is the cost here? A little bit late to lane, but I don't think they'll miss too much just yet.
But that's the thing, they didn't have Peach with them. Peach was actually clearing out his Raptors, so you're still matching the clear for Yike, but you're just blowing some of these early summoner spells. And if Peach is going to start to drift down towards this bot side and Mikyx's already in with a bit of pain, this could be an easy gank setup for Peach.
Of course, it's a bit of an indication into XL's mindset. The invade, the stack, looking to pressure G2 early. Abbedagge already using that hammer form to put the damage down onto Caps. Of course, now in the top lane there, exactly as you'd expect, BrokenBlade starting to shove a little bit towards Odo. We'll keep our eyes on the pathing there from Peach and from Yike. I don't think Mikyx's going to be too bothered losing that flash early on. Not going to have a gigantic impact on it.
Just means he gets his Hex Flash earlier, you know?
Go.
Classic Mikyx, always thinking far ahead. Speaking of the Hex Flash, looks for an opportunity there. Perhaps a little over-ambitious, so he's forced to disengage so that the Braum passive doesn't cause him any hurt. But as we kind of expected, G2's bot lane already looking to get that push. Yike now level 3 hovering around mid. Abbedagge just ticked over.
Arctic Assault is available. Flash needed to be used. Follow-up from Caps will not connect with the charm. Well, Deception goes a little bit wide. Ultimately trading on flashes, both Caps and Abba use theirs.
Yeah, great sidestep from Abbedagge to get away from that, but you can see what Yike was trying to do. If he can get control over mid lane there, means that he can push in mid. He can actually invade into the bot side here of XL and try and get control so Hansama and Mikyx can crash this wave. But now you're in a position as Hansama and Mikyx where Peach is on this bottom side, Yike has had to go top, and that's where you can see for Mikyx, he's trying to see if he can get this wave pushed in and try and reset so he's not in a dangerous spot.
And take a look at the CS already, 26-12. Pushing that wave forward, Mikyx consistently challenging with that shattering strike. So tiny advantage already accruing. And also again, you can see how Mikyx wants to run with that Rell. It was the first pick. It was one of the champions that we were ideating. Is it ban-worthy? And now he's already starting to roam once more, moving towards the top quadrant of the map here. Remember, Abba is flashless, so if he does overstep some additional threat here, he will be spotted by the ward at least.
Yeah, Abbedagge is hugging the bottom side of this lane though, so it's going to make it very difficult even with the Hex Flash to try and get on top, and you can see Mikyx not really finding that opportunity. Yike going to start to run around. He has his own flash, so maybe he can try and come over the wall or something, but XL starting to mash this play.
Let's take a look here. 3v3 being set up. Peach and Limit stepping into the lane. Don't know if either squad are really going to look for an opportunity as the wave is very heavily built up here, and Abba wants to catch that, clear on as many as he can.
It's all about enabling Caps to go back to base, right? Just offering that protection, the assistance to give him the safety. And looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. So Caps will now get an opportunity to go back to base. Fully invest the TP, that he will. We'll come back to lane now with a little bit more damage. And of course, restocking all of his the flask. So he should be in a comfortable spot. Mikyx level 3, Limit as well. Mikyx and Limit having a bit of a dance in the river. I doubt either of them really going to be too worried. Keep my eyes on the jungler now. Odoamne in the top side of the map with Peach hovering, something worth keeping our eyes on, as there could be an opportunity here for Peach to look for a play. Nope, he's just going to back to base as well. So overall, a slow early game from both these teams, and nothing too crazy as we start off this best of 5.
On both sides of the rift trying to fish for opportunities. Thus far, nothing accrued. Patrik and Limit will start to back away here, sensing something is afoot. Mikyx was waiting in that middle bush. So we'll keep an eye on Yike, see whether or not he completes this recall. And while that's happening, Peach is backed his shot, started to make his way down towards this bottom quadrant of the jungle. We stayed even across the board thus far.
You can see, though, how the vision investment already from G2 on this top side, allowing for this push from BrokenBlade to come in, offering him that safety to also make sure that Yike can still path towards the bot side to be able to, well, where he already covered for that bot side of the map earlier. So it basically just provides that extra bit of safety towards his top laner. The vision investment for both these teams, also the fact the amount of wards that are being cleared early on. Both teams very focused and very aware about what both teams are trying to do.
And with Yike back and push into the river, engage from Mikyx, followed up by that Arctic Assault. Here comes Peach at level 5. Patrik forced to run for his life. First blood secured by XL. Now they turn their attention to Yike, and a very quick pause. The fact that XL were grouped up and able to turn that around so quickly, they secured that first blood.
Yeah, it felt like a pressure cooker in that bottom side, though. You could see how much attention both sides were putting down there, but when all is said and done, at least for the moment, it's G2 who can't quite come out with the kill. I think Limit played that exceptionally well. Immediately as that play went on, he jumped on over towards the Xayah, making sure Hansama couldn't get any damage down, and just bought the space that Patrik needed for his jungler to come in.
Yeah, so like I saw at the start of that play, Mikyx, he kind of like flash queued to try and connect. The stun didn't quite land, but he does able to connect the W, so he ends up getting the 2-man knockup. But then he just gets chains. You see the Braum passive combined with Patrik and Peach have enough CC to be able to lock him down, and they get the kill. So not entirely sure where the cause of the pause come from, but obviously when we have more information, we'll be able to share it with you. But XL being able to draw first blood, definitely a great start to a series. There's always a lot of pressure when you come into that first game, and the moment that that first kill drops, a lot of that pressure starts to become alleviated, and the players can really start getting focused in the field of the game.
I mean, you can tell how much it means to Excel as well. When we listened to Odo yesterday on PGL, he was so excited to play against G2. He was even talking about in the game 3 against Fnatic, they were already starting to look towards, can we take it against G2? Like, this was their big focus for the weekend. And now, where they were kind of talking about, look, after that loss against Fnatic in the game 3, it kind of gave them that readjustment and that focus that they needed to come into today and not be going in overconfident. And it was kind of a similar story to BrokenBlade, what he talks about on Euphoria as well, saying, look, a lot of this is going to be a case of trying to keep our mental in check so then we can come in and show our best selves.
I mean, yesterday, XL's performance was a bit of a statement. A clear performance difference between them and Fnatic. And I wasn't 100% certain what to expect from this squad. Last week against G2 was fantastic 5 games, delivered across the board. I think game 2, a absolute demolition from the XL side. And you can definitely feel, you can sense the hunger. I think, look, we're 6 minutes into game. Absolutely every single one of these plays is stepping into the enemy's face, trying to force an error, trying to be very proactive on this one, right? We've seen the invades, we've seen the roams into the mid lane already. And now, of course, with this engage in the bottom lane, both Yike and Peach were in the area. So on a similar page, I do have an update that is a peripheral issue that has been reported. League officials are currently investigating. So hopefully that should not have a significant impact. But I think more importantly for me is that if XL do get off to a good start, when you consider the tools in their kit, it is a behemoth to deal with if they are the ones setting the pace of the game and making the first moves towards objectives and kills, etc.
And I think the big one for me is this Maokai. Like, we've been harping on about it all weekend, but the ability for the Maokai to take space, to set up objectives, even if you're behind, to actually try and grasp that control again is so important. The last time these two teams faced up, 4 games Maokai was played. 4 games Maokai won. Like, if you can actually use this effectively to move in, even if you're behind on the tempo, it's so effective. And I think this is such a big win for XL, especially when you have something like the Jayce there. It's comfort for Abbedagge, and they can try and play for these objectives, play for Dragons like they've been doing all playoffs long.
I mean, I think the pick and ban meta in this series is going to be intriguing.
Oh, yeah.
Minutes before we went live, we were talking about the bottom lane, talking about how Hansama and Patrik, their champion pools, what the answers are going to be to the Kog'Maw, the Kalista. Both of them can play the Draven, whether or not that'll have influence. I think game 1, obviously not the highest priority, but those are the adaptations you can make throughout the course of the series. This time round, it is the Xayah, it is the Maokai, and it is that Ornn, which XL are leaning on.
Also just love seeing the players on stage. We've caught a couple of shots of Abbedagge. If we get another opportunity to see him, you can just see him like sitting there, staying calm, his eyes closed, staying very focused on the game. Of course, this is expected to be a long series, at the very least 3 games, but it's easy to forget how successful this man actually was over in North America, having a title under his belt. Across 2022, he made finals both times with 100 Thieves, and while he did fall short in both situations, the fact that he consistently had those finals appearances, this man knows what it's like to be in these situations. He has a lot of experience, which is crazy. When domestically, we knew him as the guy on Schalke, right? He was just that guy that was like, he wasn't even in the top end of mid laners, you know, and even this split, there's been criticism towards his laning phase, but like as a player, he's been able to achieve a lot throughout his career. And, you know, you were already talking about his long history with BrokenBlade and how the fact that it's weird how they've kind of conveniently crossed paths, how they haven't, even though they've been on different teams for a long time now, they've actually very rarely been able to meet each other. It's only now that we're actually getting to see them compete against each other. It's great to follow these player stories and where they've come now. Yeah,
especially when you're looking at the both mid lane and top for BrokenBlade and Abbedagge. It's like 2016 Mysterious Monkeys. BrokenBlade was 16 years old when he first joined them. And even talking about on Euphoria where it was like, they didn't want to play with each other. It was like, BrokenBlade was like, I don't want to play with this Victor OTP. And the upside Abbedagge was like, I don't want to play with this Riven OTP. Like, neither of them wanted to play together, but they've been really good friends since. And now to see them kind of face up against each other in such pivotal matches as well. Like the first time ever XL actually played G2 in a best of series was this year. The first time these two have played against each other was this year. And now to see them in the finals against each other, and including as well BrokenBlade and Limit, right? Back in Schalke as well. Like there's so much history between these two teams, these two players, even if there's not a huge amount between these two teams.
Yeah, of course. I mean, with Excel, they haven't exactly made it to best ofs, particularly often. Hence the reason that they don't have a great competitive history against many of their opponents. Quick update for you. Unfortunately, league officials are still investigating that issue. As soon as I do have more info to share, I will let you know. And I think Medic had just a phenomenal line during the opening ceremony. 10th to title with a question mark at the end of it. What a wild story from XL. I hear that the players are currently doing their ready checks, so hopefully that means once those are all completed, we will be jumping back into game. And as a summary, 6 minutes in, first blood was secured by XL, and I think we might be dropping in just a little hot. We'll find out.
Yeah, I just want to go back to your point of like 10th, and then even to start this bit, 0-3. Like everyone was just like, XL, what in the name of God is going on? And then they come in week 2 and it's like, oh yeah, no, we're just going to 3-0, completely reverse the script. And I felt like that was really the confidence booster that they needed. And now finding their identity, getting to understand how they want to try and approach the Rift, like getting Abbedagge onto comfort, playing for these early dragons, setting up for these big team fights. XL has finally hit their stride, but it is up against the behemoth that is G2.
Well, let's find out what happens as we're loading back onto Summoner's Rift. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I hope the pizza was good here in Berlin. And as G2 have retreated from the river, kill there was secured by Peach. Minor advantage. It was Mikyx, of course, the player that got taken out. So let's zone back into the game here. Both Peach and Yike had just finished their recalls and started to make their way towards the Dragon Pit. You can see on the minimap. Yike now stepping towards the middle lane. Mikyx flanking here as well. Cap's level 6 and chasing with that Spirit Rush. Not a lot of support for now. No ultimate for Yike either. Abbedagge continues to chase away. Yike hops over the wall, manages to run into Abbedagge, and the kill is secured. Just slow and steady running him down.
Very early charm commitment in the mid lane left me concerned with how this play was going to work out for G2. But Caps, he holds on to the Spirit Rush until the last possible second, gives time for Yike to come in from a different angle, and they're able to lock down Abbedagge, whose flash only now just comes back up. Means that G2 are able to find a window and equalize the kills.
Of course, keep in mind that just a moment or two ago, multiple XL members were down in that bottom half of the map, so information was available to them. Okay, quick reminder, if you have just joined us, both of these respective teams played off against one another. Last week it was a 5-game series. And XL are now looking to turn the tides to pick up the series win this time. Right now, Hansama and Mikyx, they're pushing onto the tower.
Yeah, I mean, it was a crazy best of 5. I think expectations coming into that series was that G2 would be the heavy favorites. Many predicted 3-0, maybe a 3-1. The fact that XL pushed them all the way to 5 games. And even in game 5, I felt like XL were in a position where they could have turned that game around if it weren't for a couple of different things happening. But G2 obviously coming into this series still, many expect them to be the favorites. An incredibly strong team. Many excited to see what the rematch will look like. Dead even for the time being. Dragon on the board, Herald is alive. Bot lane seems to be putting a bit of pressure down onto Hansama. The overall, very even, 8 minutes in.
But the fact we could end up looking down the barrel of like a 10 games over the course of a week between these two teams, these two, they're going to have learned a lot over the course of that, and we'll have to see how they can try and put it into practice. If XL can try and smooth out some of the errors that we saw from them, and if G2 kind of have a bit of a stronger performance. I think a lot of people are disappointed by the performance in the last one, but we'll have to see exactly what the plan is, because right now we're seeing exactly how these two teams like to play. XL go for dragons, they force dragons so they can force fights, whereas G2, much higher priority on the Rift Herald. They want to try and use this to snowball gold, and then they tend to take the gold to team fights later on. That's why when you look at dragons at 14, XL way higher than G2.
We'll be able to use that Rift Herald this time round. Which lane they're going to play it into as well, because it's dead even in the mid lane. Hansama down bottom, plus 10 for now. We saw a little bit of a trade there between Patrik, Limit, as well as Mikyx and Hansama. And already there, Mikyx once again backing to roam, got himself those Boots of Lucidity, and I love the vision already placed there by Peach in that southern quadrant. Chucked those saplings, watered up the chickens, looking for another potential player. The entire time that we've been focused around this middle lane, both BrokenBlade and Odo pretty much left to their own devices. Small CS advantage for BrokenBlade as that wave is pushed all the way forward, and no TPs available for either of them.
I just think it's funny that Handsummer's really just been left isolated in the bot lane. Mikyx, look, he's not even level 6 yet. Limit almost at level 7. He actually has more XP than his AD carry does. Handsummer, though, still doing a very good job when it comes to the farm and gold. Odoamne now going to throw out his ultimate just to clear out this wave. He is a little bit worried about, you can see on the minimap, this roam that's coming in from Caps, something we'll see a lot from the G2 mid laner. Has his jungler helping push in that mid, and then they move into the fog of war, and it just creates this sense of pressure. They know that the bot side of the map is safe because Peach is there with the control ward and also clearing out the scuttle crab. So that means that the top side must be in danger, and Odoamne clears out the wave, chooses to disengage, but he's very likely going to lose another plane. It looks like the Yike may very well drop the Herald up here as well.
That's the thing with this matchup, though. Renekton going to get a lot of control early, especially if he's going to get jungle attention from Yike. It's about Odoamne when he gets to the later portion of the game, trying to join in with these team fights, especially having XL already start up that dragon and having that cloud taken out of the way. Ocean going to be next. You're looking at a very strong potential dragon soul for XL.
I mean, take a look at that. Limit throwing out the ultimate under the tower. Patrik relatively low, doesn't want to commit further, not the highest amount of damage. So now all of a sudden, window of opportunity. Caps has roamed from the mid lane, sat inside the darkness. Observers just toggled there from what XL could see. But as the XL bottom lane back out, not going to overstep. A lot of respect being shown. So Caps will lose a minion or two to that wave that Abbedagge pushed in. It's a 10 advantage for him and a 400 gold lead overall here for G2. The Rift Herald still in Yike's back pocket, hasn't committed it to a lane yet.
Caps just choosing to sack an entire wave because he knows he has that kill advantage, so he does have that extra bit of gold. Does look for an opportunity bot. Patrik and Limit does respect it though. Not going to take any gambles, but yeah. We expected a bit more of a bloodbath. Both these teams showcasing a lot of respect. It does make sense. A lot of pressure with the Summer Championship title on the line. BrokenBlade, though, now in danger.
All right, gets knocked into the air, held in place by Peach. Flash still available to him. The slice and the dice was used for a second or two. Damage in reply. Does he have enough to take out Odo? And the answer is no. Peach manages to secure the second kill for XL. A good bounce back from BrokenBlade, and all of a sudden G2 trying to set up either a dive into Abba or just for the plates. The prison connects, the crash down from Mikyx, and an immediate reply. Here comes Patrik. Peach throws down the Nature's Grasp. Long range engage. Mikyx, the first target, rooted up, held in place, will be taken down by Patrik. The tower stands as well as the rest of G2 running for their lives.
May not be over yet, though. Caps forces the flash from Peach with that charm as XL, they manage to fight back and get an extra kill for themselves.
Yeah, I'm impressed with how well XL are keeping up with the cross-map play that G2 made. You know, you commit 3 members towards top lane. G2 immediately says, you know what, we're going to attack mid. They made that dive look seamless as Abbedagge loses his life, but then immediately in the rotation from top into mid, they find themselves another kill. So XL maintaining the lead where they can. And the only thing that G2 can do is drop the Herald bot, see if they can get Handsummer a little bit more gold, but Patrik's still a little bit ahead for now.
Such a tense start to the game. Respect being shown, but also a penchant towards this middle lane. I think we've seen so many members roaming and trying to either cover or set up those plays. It's currently Caps 2 kills to his name, and I think that's a good idea into Abbedagge's Jayce, who has been instrumental for his team's wins.
The thing is, though, although we saw XL matching well, the gold in the grand scheme of things is fairly even because the plates he got on bot side. As you look towards this dragon, though, all those summoner spells were burnt by XL. Flash on Odo, flash on Peach, flash on Limit. That's where G2 didn't actually invest those summoner spells, so now they can try and use them on bot side.
Next flash available. Mikyx's going to step forward, side steps the Winter's Bite. A lot of wards invested from G2 onto that right-hand side of the map, so you know, maybe encourage them to step forward. 14 seconds for the dragon is up. Let's take a look. Level 11 for Odo. Teleport's available there for Abba, but he's already in that middle lane. Top laners cannot join. They try to rush this one down. I mean, Mikyx's looking for the hunt. Here comes the TP from Caps. Patrik running for his life. Flashing cleanse needed. If he gets caught out, no Feather Storm either. Yike steps forward, Arctic Assault, 8 seconds before the prison is available to him. Caps goes in, here comes Abba, brings the hammer down, but Handsummer's on the board. Got himself 1, got himself 2, and Abba's forced to flash for his life as Caps chases with a third and final Spirit Rush, looking for that charm, connects, and the kill is secured once more by Caps.
Beautiful punish from G2, that's what I was talking about. No summoner spells for XL, and they target Limit on the bot lane. Great TP from Caps, great execution, and G2 get the second dragon.
You could see it in the ward placements, G2 littering them around the river, managing to corral XL, getting themselves the kills, getting themselves the dragon. Now Peach, has he overstepped, held into place, charmed, locked down. And that was very unfortunate pathing. Another kill in the hands of Hansama.
I mean, the setup was good, but they also just, look at how in the face of XL this is. They know that there's no summoners here, and so right in front of them, they just commit the TP. Yike knows that he has everything that he needs to lock them down. Hansama commits the ultimate flash in from Yike, and look at this charm from Caps. He's going to go around the shield, connect the charm onto Patrik, then the ultimate will come out from Mikyx. Chains is seeing the bot lane, and they say, you know what, Abbedagge, you've overstepped your bounds. Caps' charm is back up in a second. Let me just land this one and put Caps on a killing spree.
And I love how willing Caps is to drop waves mid to make these plays happen. He's the one that's trying to garner control of this bot lane for G2, and that play has cemented it there. XL, though, quicker back out of the map, will move over towards this Rift Tower to pick it up for themselves. May look to just use it immediately with very few members of G2 on this top side.
It is crucial. They're down 2,000 gold for now. I think more importantly, 303 for Caps Ahri, 301 for Hansama on that Xayah. Tower secured in the bottom lane as well. Take a look here, no real numbers in the top lane. Mikyx making his way potentially to help out BrokenBlade, as the Rift Herald was dropped instantly, as you mentioned, Dagda. So this should get the boop, and take a look, Hansama as well, making his way up. So if Patrik and Limit stick around a little too long, G2 fancy a fight. Tower's going to fall. It's XL on the hunt. All of a sudden, potential engages here. We're playing on the Infernal Rift. Map is just open, which is going to be good there. Oraba stepping forward as Hansama's trying to clear out that blue.
Glacial Augment from Mikyx doing work to stop Patrik from following up and getting that concussive blow stacks. Now G2 stepping forward. They know that they've got the resets coming through. Yike on this top side. All 5 members of G2 will push XL back away.
Alright, so XL, they do get their first tower of the game. Odoamne going to push in this bot wave and then look to reset. Wards littered across the top side of the map. Our observers are highlighting it for you now. That is a swath of wards, one could say. They see the top side, is the TLDR, but no objectives to play for right now. You're kind of looking at these outer towers in mid lane and potentially a cross map on the top side. So G2 likely can start playing towards the top side, whereas ideally XL want to play for bot, but G2 slowly chipping away at this mid tower using the poke from Hansama.
Take a look at the mini map. Odo, as well as the rest of XL, surrounding the mid lane. Applying pressure. I wondered whether or not they were going to commit those engages. All of a sudden, a juicy target is presented. Caps, somewhat overextended, not a lot of vision to work with. 3 members of XL stepping down. There's still a flash available, still the Spirit Rush available, and a very easy escape there from Caps, opening up this mid lane to be hammered down here by Hansama.
I think this is the way XL need to try and play this, though, because ideally they would like Abbedagge to be in the side lane. He can actually push in against Caps, but because he's been pushed so far behind and you're in a long lane, it just leaves you open for Caps and Yike to chase you down.
A little bit of a trade there between these two, and I think starting to feel a little bit nervous here for XL. It feels as though G2 have landed a few heavier punches, and they've got control at least for the last couple of minutes of play. Stepping into XL's jungle, placing some wards. We're a minute and 40 seconds from the next dragon. It's already starting to set up for that objective.
I mean, G2 are just controlling all 3 lanes. I mean, they are just controlling all 3 lanes, is what I wanted to say. They're keeping the push in top with BrokenBlade, knowing that he can win out on the 1v1 matchup. They're getting Caps early into the bot lane so that he can get that push. And as you highlighted, Dagda, Abbedagge being kind of forced into staying mid means that he can't match anyone in a side lane. So that means that G2 have easy access on what on a tower that ideally XL would love to be playing for, but because they can never get this mid prio, it's harder for them to move that vision in and start playing for that objective.
And that's the thing, G2 are just reading these over rotations from XL because they can't play off of Abbedagge. They're like, well, we need more members down on this side in case G2 show up. But the second they do that, well, Hans can easily push you in mid wave and then can start to set up for these tower objectives. That's now all 3 outer towers down, which means G2 start to slowly but surely push their own waves forward, get that vision control forward, and they can now start to play for a dragon that's in 50 seconds off of a massive power spike for Caps with 2 items now completed on the Ahri.
1,500 gold up over his opposite number, plus 1,000 for Hansama. So he'll rejoin the rest of his squad, and the vision slowly being cleared out. There is still 1 G2 ward there just behind the blue buff being highlighted. Teleport available for Caps and BrokenBlade.
So again, you'll notice that they're keeping Caps in the spot lane to just keep that pressure in. They keep 3 members mid to keep the push. Whereas right now, all XL care about is controlling the river. They've got full vision. If we could observers see what... Yeah, perfect. You can see how XL are kind of creating this darkness, forcing G2 to face check into them. But Yike is not going to be afraid of this. Mikyx?
Ooh, doesn't get engaged on further.
But that's exactly what XL is looking for. That pick, that overextension. Mikyx, even though he is a tank, he is still squishy enough in the early game that XL can punish it.
And I like that XL are dropping this bot wave. They know that they need to try and get this poke down with Abbedagge, try and control these choke points, because as you're trying to enter, Odoamne ult, Peach ult, everything that you need is going to be a case of controlling it, but now that line is broken.
Teleport from BrokenBlade. Will be forced to run for now, but on the back end, Hansam engages onto Odo. For the Forge Guard, not even viable, not even useful. Kill secured by Caps, turning their attention over to limit. BrokenBlade finally run down by the members of XL, but the Spirit Rush forward. Charm sidestep, but the Arctic Assault is not. It's a triple, it's a quadra, it's G2 destroying XL as Caps now turns his attention over to Abbedagge, looking for that ace, looking for that 5th and final kill, and it is secured by Hansam.
It's a clean ace from G2. BrokenBlade draws all eyes to him, and Mikyx sneaks in onto Patrik in the back line. A beautiful play, and this is where you can see XL were trying to play for chokes, but that ward behind him draws BrokenBlade. But watch Mikyx here, goes in, manages to get onto Patrik just as Patrik is trying to set up the damage that he needs, and then Patrik forced to flash away. He's out of the equation. Abbedagge is trying to deal with BrokenBlade, and there's no damage left in this fight for XL.
It's just a great flank, right? It splits apart XL. They want to be able to leverage that very powerful front line they have with Ornn, Maokai, Braum. But the second that TP flank came in, it completely broke the line from XL, and G2 found the angle. Beautiful play from Caps. Triple kill for him, double kill for Hansam, and just a one-sided team fight in favor of G2.
That single ward that was placed a couple of minutes earlier, allowing G2 to manipulate XL, gives them now the 4,500 gold lead. Second tower secured. Big item advantages on their main carries. And this third tower now will fall in the top lane.
But I think when you're looking at Caps, right, it really feels like he's on form today. Last time, game 2 against XL, probably the dodgiest Lucian performance I've seen in a while. Was not a pleasant experience, but now G2 firing all cylinders.
Wow, they are
leading the
just forcing this.
Trying to pull XL towards them. Odo down in that bottom lane. Teleport available to him, but the engage has already happened. The teleport's going to be too late as Patrik is shut down in his jungle. Limit to follow, and G2 running amok.
Patrik doesn't get to play the game, and Caps is going to make sure of it. A double kill for the Renekton. His ulti was still called out. Odo goes back in.
He's trying to find at least something back. Yike stays alive long enough to run into the corner and avoid all of the damage. XL are aced and get nothing in reply.
Odo was hoping to find a kill, but not that one. Ends up giving G2 another ace. And as they now turn over towards the Baron, this is a massive performance from G2.
The speed of their engage is what turned this. Before the teleport was even halfway completed, Patrik is shut down.
That engage from Yike, the follow-up from BrokenBlade. Perhaps I gave too much credit to Caps for cleaning up the fight, because it was really that top jungle duo that set up the whole play. A spectacular team fight once again from G2, and you can understand from this point, XL, they're just trying to get something back. They know that this game is pretty much done, but they can't even get that. Yike barely surviving on a slither of health. The charm coming in from Caps, the ultimate from Mikyx, the ace from G2.
We can come out of that replay. Take a look at the scoreboard. 1-0-15 for Yike Sejuani, 100% kill participation. 6-0-10 for Caps on that, Ahri. The exact same story. These two players have been tip of the spear here for G2 in game 1. They've got a gigantic lead now. Baron-empowered minions being ushered in both the middle and bottom lanes. Yike is stepping just out of vision. He's got that Glacial Prison available to him. He's from the wave clear side. Try use that long-range poke. Look at the middle lane though. Caps is applying pressure. He's got that TP available to him. So for XL, it was already difficult trying to fend off the aggression. Now it is amplified tenfold.
It's also the fact that G2 are so incredibly mobile at the moment. Infernal Rift means that you get to move about very easily between bot and mid. Also now Caps having that ultimate available, he can hop over walls. So XL are completely abandoning mid lane in favor of this bot side turret. That's not the way you want to play this, lads.
What's the question? Where's the call? Engage, is it going to happen? XL still dilly-dallying in the bottom lane. Finally, a couple of numbers trying to catch up to Caps. Glacial Blizzard connects the charm as well. Goodbye, Abbedagge. 5 versus 4 now. G2 still got that Baron. And now they're in an even more dire situation.
Yike PC needs to be checked, man. That is not normal. He is just connecting every single ultimate onto Abbedagge's face, and now they found Peach.
Right, engage from Nature's Grasp. An Ornn ultimate trying to be backed up by Braum, but is not finding the targets. There's no damage from Abbedagge, and Patrik is taken down once more. A couple more kills landed in Hun Summer's back pockets as Odo's running for his life. 4 members of G2 taking him out inside the base. And at 24 minutes with 21 kills, it has been domination for G2.
Are they going to go for it? Abbedagge's just respawned. No, Caps misses it.
By the charm, the Nexus turret, the first has about fallen. Number 2 is being focused by the minions, and Abba is currently drawing members of G2. The Nexus turret will fall. The Nexus will be the next target. And G2 Esports dominate Game 1 in the Summer Split Finals.
G2 showing that the acronym for mid-jungle is G2, because that was an incredible performance from Yike and Caps, absolutely taking over from that mid lane and then using that presence from Caps to constantly play around bot side, make sure they're getting this lead and just dominate the entire way through.
So typically we've seen this Lucian answer in the mid lane into the Jayce, and one of the things I think that we've seen from this Ahri is just you have so much more wave clear when you move out into a side. Obviously we've been seeing a lot from VTO, and I wonder if Caps has taken an element out of his playbook in terms of how much control, because the playmaking that you have, the amount of gank setups we saw, the side lane pressure he was creating, that mid jungle was spectacular this game.
Gentlemen, we do have to go to an ad break. There's a lot of questions to answer. We'll find it out on the other side. For now though, G2 strike first in the Summer Split Finals.